Hello everyone, this is Rahaf Assaedi, and the title of my paper is Representation of the Cultural Identity in the Advertisements on Saudi National Day, a Multimodal Critical Discourse reading. So the outline of the presentation is pretty simple, starting with the brief introduction, going through the objectives and questions, reviewing some literature, then giving insights on the methodology, the results, and then conclusion. So to begin with, one of the vital elements that determines the success or failure of the ad is its context. It also determines the viewer's involvement in the virality of the advertisements. So in this case, advertisers seek special occasional contexts, such as national days, to promote for themselves and contribute and also connect with the viewers. What they do is they utilize multiple socio-semiotic modes to create the context of their advertisements and represent identities in specific cultures. So in national days, people express pride in their identity and they reveal a sense of unity of their countries. So many companies seize such opportunities to promote for themselves and influence the attitudes of the viewers by addressing cultural identities in the theme of National Day advertisements. So this paper in particular initiates a case study on two Saudi National Days ads. It aims to explore and provide a comparative reading of the different socio-semiotic representation of the cultural identity in the advertisements and the role the contexts play in its success or failure. So the research objectives and questions are first to explore the socio-semiotic representations of the cultural identity in two advertisements and identify the causes of success and failure of the multimodal representation of the cultural identity through the socio-semiotic modes. So this paper basically seeks to answer two questions. The first one is, how do the socio-semiotic modes integrate to signify the projected cultural identity in the advertisements in the context of Saudi National Day, and also what are the similarities and differences between the advertisements in the socio-semiotic modes represented in the cultural identity and Saudi National Day's advertisement. So I have reviewed literature that is along the lines of the social identity and the viewer's attitude toward the advertisements as a base, and then I went to the theoretical framework in which I employed two approaches of analysis. One is for the verbal mode, which is Halliday's SFG model, and the other one is for the visual mode, following Chris and Van Leeuwen's model of visual semiotics. So, regarding social identity and viewers' attitudes towards the advertisement, the concept of social identity is invoked in various areas of human science to discuss individuals' tendencies to maintain connections to their social groups. Many studies have discussed such concept. For example, Zheng, Huang, and Dou in 2009 stated that viewers regard an ad more valuable the more it is relevant to the theme of their community and the more it supports the extension of their social identity. In a similar study, Maldonado and Muling stated that cueing a social identity in an ad is considered a powerful strategy to develop a strong connection with a certain social group. In a more recent study, Taylor and others have stated that the acceptance of an advertisement is considered higher when it reinforces the social identity of a social group and construct their ideal identity. So for the theoretical approaches of analysis, I have employed Halliday's model of SFG and for the verbal mode, and Crescent Van Leeuwen's model of visual semiotics for the visual mode. So to achieve the objectives of the study, I have chosen two metafunctions, which is the ideational metafunction and the textual metafunction, to analyze and explore the experiences represented in the verbal mode and its extension in the visual mode, and also to investigate how the messages are composed verbally and represented visually through the compositional metafunction in Crescent Van Leeuwen's model. So I have highlighted previous studies that have conducted multimodal analysis on identity-related issues. And for them, I have noticed that most of them have tackled themes related to the current study. However, they did not focus on social identity and the viewer's attitudes in specific contexts. So this study aims to fill this gap by addressing advertisements in the context of national days. And the second gap is that little evidence has been reported on studies in advertising initiated in the Arab contexts. So it is important to fill this gap so this study is dedicated to the context of Saudi Arabia as an example of Arabic contexts. As for the methodology, in the data collection is qualitative in nature because this study is a comparative reading between two videos. So the first video is presented by Maestro Pizza's company, which is a Saudi local company, and the second advertisement analyzed is presented by PepsiCo, which is a multinational corporation. The selection of the data is based on 4 criteria. The first one is the theme, which is the annual celebration of Saudi National Day. The second one is based on the viewers' feedback. So the viewers' attitudes varied, contrasted between positive and negative, where in Maestro Pizza's ad, it has received more than 19,000 likes on YouTube and 44,000 likes on Twitter. On the other hand, PepsiCo's ad was met with general negative feedback by the audience, with more than 523 dislikes, and the original tweet was actually deleted due to the negative feedback from the viewers. Duration was also taken into consideration. Approximately both videos are similar in duration. Also, the design of the advertisement was taken into consideration. Both videos are lyrics incorporating texts, images, and music. So the data analysis is twofold. I have begun with analyzing the verbal mode using Halliday's models of systems of transitivity and theme. And then I have used Crescent Van Leeuwen's model of visual semiotic to analyze the corresponding visuals, which is the system of representation and system of composition. So I began with the verbal mode, analyzing the experiences and the message formation, and then I went to the corresponding systems in the visual mode, which are the system of representation and system of composition. And then I made a comparative reading between the two advertisements. So the results indicate patterns of that the patterns of representing the Saudi cultural identity have diverged in the ad. To begin with, in Maestro Pizza's ad, the context of the advertisement has emphasized the glory of the country and the Saudi cultural identity through the textual mode. And this was reflected through the symbolic visual representations of the Saudi heroes and the complementing setting of the videos. On the other hand, PepsiCo's ad uses the textual or verbal mode to focus on the typical activities in the Saudi society that unify Saudi. However, this is overlooked in the visual representation of the participants in the videos, which are the singers basically. And this creates a gap between the verbal or textual mode and the visual mode. To meet the second objective, I began with analyzing the integration of the socio-semiotic modes in Maestro ad. And the results indicated that the conceptual symbolic representation were utilized to visualize the storyline in the visual mode. So, as a result, the visual modes complements the verbal mode. Thus, it has attended to the patriotic spirits initiated in the ad and transferred it to the viewers both verbally and visually, which has consequently affected the acceptance of the ad in the representation of the acceptance of the viewers to the ad in the representation of their cultural identity. In this case, Berger and Milkman and others have asserted that arousing emotional value and triggering social identities affects the acceptance of the viewers of the ad. Greska also said that seeking a positive portrayal of the participants is considered a powerful marketing strategy to connect with them. Hilland, in her study, also revealed that content creators basically employ intertextual references, and this is affected by the discourses of identity and ideology in any given context. And in this context, Maestro Pizza's ad has employed intertextual references to reinforce the Saudi cultural identity and also gain the favor of the viewers. On the other hand, in PepsiCo's ad, I have found that there is a lack of integration between the verbal and the visual mode, and this has generated a conflict with the viewers as the visuals do not complement the verbal mode, and this has affected the cultural identity's portrayal, and in fact it has de-emphasized it. So as a result, the rejection of the audience caused the failure of the ad. So many studies, this has been justified by many studies. Mimani and Murray have reported that the engagement and the interpretation of the viewers is affected by issues of any ad is affected by issues such as cultural and context. So they have the gap between the visuals and the verbal mode has caused misinterpretations of the viewers. Murray also concluded that the advertisers control the reproduction of a context through manipulating the content of their ad in accordance with situated meanings. Kara, in her study, asserted the positive relationship between the integration of socio-semiotic modes in specific context and the degree of acceptance by the viewers. So the lack of integration, this justifies the failure of the ad because it lacked integration of the verbal and the visual modes and caused the viewers to frown upon the ad. In conclusion, this present study is considered, the significance of this study lays in the sense that it has contributed to the literature of advertising through highlighting the role of contexts and what it plays in the success or failure of the ad. It also offers insights on the socio-semiotic modes that impact the viewers' attitudes in the Saudi society on Saudi National Day and simultaneously contributes to the growing area of multimodal research. There are a few delimitations in the study, one of which is that it is a case study, so it cannot be scientifically generalized. And musical mode was not addressed in the study because the study is concerned with tracing patterns of verbal and visual representation on which a comparative reading is feasible based on previous literature related to the matter. So it is recommended to target a larger data in different contexts on which scientific generalizations can be made. In addition, the role of music can be addressed and should be further investigated in portraying identity and addressing cultures in the advertisements. The impact of integrating socio-semiotic modes on the success or failure of the ads should be further addressed in different cultural contexts. So thank you for listening, and I appreciate it. For any question, you can find me at Rahaf Assaedi@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone.